Hello, and today I'll be taking a look at Fimbul the Hunter and Warg figure from The Hobbit: An Unexpected Journey in the 1/18th scale size figures. I picked this up for £4, they are still on the shelves, so I thought what the heck, let's buy it, open it up, and then people can judge whether they want to pick one up themselves. Let's take a quick look at the packaging, and it's the pretty much standard packaging that we've had for all the other Hobbit figures. Still got this elvish ring around the front of the packaging. It did have a little sticker in here, but it fell out. I did open it up in the car just to keep my son amused while we were driving back from the toy shop. And on the back of the packaging, it shows us a little bit of nice artwork. I have noticed that Warg is actually a little bit of a darker colour here on the packet, but we'll have a look when we get inside. And then a picture there as well, and also a little bit about the quest and a little bit about the characters. And I still think it's very nice for them to include this on the packaging as well. And that's it for the packaging, same old guff on the bottom. So let's get this open and see if it's worth the cash. Okay, and here they are out of the packaging, Fimbul and Warg. I'm going to put Warg to the side and take a look at Fimbul first and the accessories that he comes with. He actually comes with a staff, which looks like it's been moulded in a dark brown plastic and then has lighter highlights, as you can see on this serrated edge. It's got a bit of a brush on there, a little knobble to show that it's been made out of wood. And then we have a sharp bit on the end, and then he has this strange pointy thing, which I believe is supposed to be sharp, but it's been moulded quite thickly. Whether it's supposed to be bone, I'm not too sure. Quite nice paintwork on the binding in there. And that's that. I'm not sure what that really is. And the mace, which is done very, very nicely indeed. It's got all highlights along where the binding is, made to look like it's actually made out of wood. A slight bit of overcast on certain parts of it, but because it's such a small part, you can't see it unless you look really up close. So that looks nice. Okay, and on to Fimbul himself. He looks like he's been moulded out of this lighter colour that you can kind of see in the face, and then he's had a darker brush over the top, which is good. It makes it look like the leathery texture that they do have in the movie. Onto the cape itself. The cape looks like it's been sculpted out of this lighter grey, and then everything else on top of it is actually paint. Not too happy with the paint around the front, or these red bits of paint, because they do just look like splodges. If you have a look on the back, just big splodge, and then they've gone over. But I mean, they've tried. I just think it could have been done a lot neater. So this bit's painted in the light brown, and then we've got the red over the top, and then on top of that we have a dark brush with the black. So all in all, they have done a reasonable paint job on it. I just think these bits could have been done a little bit neater. Down to the arms, this again painted the same as the head, just moulded in a light plastic, and then a brush of black on the top. Down to the arms, this little bit is painted, and I believe that is moulded. Yeah, that's moulded out of a light grey. Onto the chest. The chest is moulded out of the grey, and then with a slight brush over the top, which looks good, effective. And then the same problem with the cape on this bit here, just blobs of red and a black wash over the top. Onto the skirt bit at the back, still got a wash on the back, which is good, and a wash onto the skirt at the front. The legs come with the same as the arms, light brown moulded, and then a black wash over the top. Onto the boots, they are sculpted in the light brown again, and then have been painted over the top. And that's your paintwork. If we go on to the paintwork on the face, if you look at the eyes, there's actually eyes painted nicely inside, very fine detail in there, and if you hold him upright, obviously you can't see them, so it gives him that bit more of an eviler look. So if we go on to the sculpt work, the cape comes off altogether if you did want to do that, and it does have a peg in the back which is supposed to keep it in place. It just slots in there like that. Sculpt work, I'd say it's sculpted nicely all over. There's lots of detail in the cape. The holes are all sculpted in, these bits of bones round the top. That's all done with a lot of detail in it, which is good. The arms quite plain, a little bit of like string round here to keep the gloves on, the sculpted bone on the front, these sculpted bits of like leather on the front, also done very nice. The boots, I do like the design of these boots. Might have to pinch them for a custom figure somewhere. Maybe could have done with a little bit more paint on them just to highlight it a little bit more, but still they are sculpted very nicely indeed. And the head sculpted, looks the part. Happy with the way that he looks. So next on to articulation. His head does all the way round. How far can we get it down? And then not really any up and down on the head, unfortunately. Not too sure. If we just take a look at the peg, he's got a very thick neck in there, which is why he doesn't actually really get any up and down, but he does get a good left and right all the way around. And then we have a peg hinge for the shoulder. Let's see, these are quite effective at getting it across the waist, and again a peg and a hinge, so you can get it all the way across, not impeded by the cape or the sculpt, which is good there. And then if we go down to the waist, it does have a waist twist, but no up and down unfortunately for that. It's just a peg for the hand, which just gives us the swivel. Down to the leg, they are a peg hinge again, but with this figure, this is a very nice soft material. I think they could have done with this material on a lot more of the figures, because it gives you the actual articulation, so you can get the leg up and out. And then same with the knee, it's a peg and a hinge, so we get a good range of articulation there, all the way out to the front. Unfortunately no ankle articulation, but this is definitely one of the better figures for articulation that I've seen. So that is Fimbul. I think that's very nice looking indeed. And here he is, and first impressions on this figure is wow, it's very nice, very heavy indeed. So if we first go on to the sculpt, the sculpt has lots and lots of intricate detail throughout the whole of this figure to give it that like shaggy fur kind of look all the way throughout, down to the feet. The feet look very nice as well. If we go on to paint, the painting is done very well indeed. The only thing I don't really like is this lighter highlights in the top here. It looks like a bit out of place when you do look at the whole figure, but other than that, his mouth is painted very well, again with the teeth painted very well indeed. The eyes, no detail in the eyes. I think on the picture of the packaging, it's hard to see whether it did have proper eyes painted on, but it is just a gold colour at the moment, but it still gives him that evil look, which is good. And anymore, we do have some of these red splodges again. I think someone's just gone a bit crazy with these red splodges because they just look slightly out of place on the leg, especially that one on the leg. Doesn't look like a cut at all or a blood stain. And so we have this dark brown underneath, we have a dark brown on top, and it's moulded out of a light brown, and then it's had a wash all over it with some black. So paintwork on this figure looks great, sculpt work looks great. So if we go on to articulation, we will start at the head. The head comes with a mouth or a jaw that can open and close. It is on a peg, I believe, in the head. Yeah, it's just on a peg, and that gives us a down and up. Not really, well, a tiny bit of left and right, but as you bring it left and right, it does rotate the head up and down. Then onto the neck is on a hinge, and that goes all the way down. It is very stiff. It goes all the way up too. So with regards to articulation to the head, you can get that into pretty much any realistic pose that you'd like, which I am very happy with. Then this seems to be on just a ball at the torso. That gives you a nice range. and the sculpt work makes it fit in quite well. Down to the legs, or the front legs, and that's just on a swivel, but it does go very far forward and very far back. And then the leg is on a peg and a hinge to give it a nice elbow joint, if you would. And it is very realistic. It can't go too much further forward than that, but if you look at dogs in real life, or wolves, they can't bring it any further forward than that as well, so it goes as far forward as you need it. Down to the foot, and that is on a ball, sorry, that's just a peg and a hinge as well, so you get the rotation and also you get the forwards and backwards motion. It's exactly the same for the leg on the other side. If we go to the rear legs or hind legs, again, that's just on a swivel, but it goes all the way back and forward. Very happy with the amount of motion that you get in that. And back to the knee, that is on a peg and a hinge also. Down to the ankle, that is on a peg and a hinge, which gives you a great all the way round, forwards, backwards, left, right, everything that you want from that. And the tail, which is on a hinge and a peg also, so you get all the way round, forwards, backwards. So all in all, this figure can go into pretty much any realistic position a real life dog or animal could go into itself. So very, very happy with this figure indeed. So that is Fimbul and Warg from The Hobbit, An Unexpected Journey in the 1/18th scale. Have to say, very happy with the Warg figure. He's a beast of a figure, very well detailed, very well painted. I'd probably pay £4 just for that on its own. Probably going to go out and buy a couple more myself as well, so I can actually have a pack of them. Fimbul is very well sculpted. Probably could have done with a better detailing on the bone bits of his cape. It just looks a little bit splodgy and a little bit unneat, but like I say, for £4 I'd probably pay a lot more just for the Warg figure itself. Do recommend it, so if you see these, pick one up for yourselves. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe, and I'll see you next time for more Rawpain reviews.